Have you ever heard someone say, you can take the boy out of the city or country, but you can't take the city or the country out of the boy? Now, a statement like that has more connections to sociology than you just might realize. In fact, since the earliest days of sociology, there has been a debate as to how much our identity and personality comes from genetics and heredity, and how much comes from environment and the culture in which we are born into. Now, most sociologists today will say that it actually is a combination. For example, I grew up in the city, so I know things like stickball. I know things like using a lawnmower like this one. Okay, so my lawn was really small. But when I got married, we ended up moving more out into the suburb area where my wife lives, and I was introduced to things like gardening. No, not like this, but probably more like this. Okay, maybe not that big either, but when you're out helping pick the corn all day in the field, it sure can feel this big. Or how about using a lawnmower more like this one? See, what's interesting is my son now only knows this later environment. This is what he has grown up with. It is the cultural environment he has been born into. So you ask him what stickball is? He's never played it. But he is a Gaga master. Now, the first time I heard him say that he wanted to play Gaga, I was thinking, from some of the cultural connections that I have, what in the world does this person have to do with sports? But I had no idea that he was referring to the game that is being played above. So today, in your reading, you're going to look at a combination of both biological or genetic factors that shape your identity, as well as the cultural and environmental influences. In fact, the main idea for this section is this. Although the nature versus nurture debate has raged for decades, most social scientists believe a blend of the two influences personality. So as you're reading, you want to be able to answer these main questions. First, what is the history of the nature versus nurture debate? Secondly, what are the main factors that affect personality development? Finally, how does the social environment influence personality? And for this last question, you want to pay close attention to the case studies of Anna, Isabel, Jeannie, and the observations that sociologists and psychologists have made regarding children that have been raised in orphanages. So I recommend that you take notes using an organizer chart like this one. I want you to identify the four main factors that influence personality development. Then give a brief explanation or description of each factor. Finally, reflect on your own personality development and jot down an example of each from your own experience in life. For example, under birth order, you want to briefly describe what this means. Then you want to write down where you fall in the birth order. For example, when I look at myself, I am the last born child. It's just my sister and I'm the younger. So I would write that down. And I might also write down one or two characteristics of my personality that fit with that. Now here's something that's interesting as well, is that I also seem to fit some of the firstborn characteristics. And some sociologists would say that would be normal because of the age gap between my sister and myself. So I act what they refer to as a functional firstborn. That's why I tend to be much more conservative with a lot of my ideas. I tend to be more of a defender of the status quo. And I also love to do study and research, which fits that scholarly element as well. So now go ahead, make a chart like this, and complete it using your own life, your own experience as the example to help you understand what is going on.